Greetings guys, it's Halloween time, so we're gonna do some hand-painted pumpkin. I will show you how I paint that kind of objects step by step. Let's go. This is the model I have made in Blender in the older version. Yeah, I'm still using it. In this video we are not going to go through the full modeling process, but I will have some files that can help you with the modeling process, like this side, front, back view of the pumpkin. And following these forms you can make a pretty simple pumpkin that we're gonna paint together. I also prepared couple different faces for our pumpkin, so you can pick the one you like mostly. And here's the trick to model it super fast and easy. I just separated the front faces and carve on them with the knife tool. And then extrude it and join with our pumpkin mesh. That's easy. And that way other mesh parts will not disturb us while we like carving with the knife tool. So yeah, I recommend to use that way with the carving the face for our pumpkin. Choose the one you like and let's go. I will jump over and check all the files that I have prepared for you. This one contains all the colors we're gonna use for our pumpkin, and it's easy to pick those colors from this picture. This one is the color blending process, so you can also pick colors from it. Another one, similar picture with process of our painting, like line art, highlights, painted AO. And this one we already seen, it's front, back and side view of our pumpkin forms, so you can use it for modeling. And the faces, for scary faces for our pumpkin. And finally it's time for painting. So we uploaded our model to 3D code, baking some ambient occlusion for better see the details on the model. And now filling the layers with our base color using our favorite fill tool and picking the colors from the file we prepared. There we go. And the next one is a color blending. I use semi-hard, semi-soft brush at 85% opacity. I just find it more suitable for my needs. I've been trying many different variations before and the settings of the brush, and many of them can work. Just find the one that fits your needs. So yeah, I'm picking the color from pumpkins. It's sometimes easier than just from color scheme. And just blending, using non-stop pressing V button to pick color and make sure our blending shapes looks good. And we're gonna go over all the pumpkin. Our front side is the one where the light hits, so it will be lighter. It's our main part for the scene with the pumpkin. We're not gonna show the back side, so our front will be lighter. And just blending, picking. You can experiment with different brush opacity. Maybe you like more just super hard brush, or it's sometimes easier to work with just super soft brush. And using a razor tool, there's actually dozens and dozens of workflows how to make it good. This is just the one I like mostly, but sometimes I use different ones too. Now it already looks like some kind pumpkin. I like the colors, turn it out pretty cool. Just a little bit of light on the over part too, but probably no one gonna see it, so don't focus a lot on it. And same for the back part, I also will not focus a lot on it, just a little bit of colors there. And I think that we need a little bit more white colors on the front, so I just adding this white information and blending a little bit more in the front. To make it more juicy. Yep, that way it looks much better. Don't be scared to experiment with like darker, lighter colors. You never know that will work better. Of course, if you don't have 1,000 years of experience behind. And our blending, color blending is, I think it's done. It's done for the pumpkin, but we also need to do this for upper part. I'm trying to model this upper part like it's some kind wizard head, I don't know, just not super standard. And also wanted to use the colors of the darker one, like some wizard head colors, I don't know, not the standard green colors for like roots or plants normal people use. So we're gonna go with these darker dry colors and painting this like some kind twisted roots or something like this, making cool details. I also use a softer brush for it. And picking the colors from our file, you can do the same. I picked the more lighter color, so we will have couple passes here of the light info. I decided not to paint like super sharp highlights on it. On the sides. So. Just some kind twisted root forms and we are good. And a little bit on the side too. And the last blending is for our nails. I'm not sure why I actually added nails into this pumpkin. I just wanted some kind of detail and not super usual look, so there we have nails now. And let's blend them. darker colors on the back side, lighter colors on the front side, and some kind of gradient on the upper part of the nail. They look really cool. I decided to paint the metal here in this bluish colors, so they will contrast more on this work, but you can do the metal actually any color. It's a green one, red one, or whatever. It can be any color you want. I used some soft brush here for our nail cylindrical form. And now we're gonna add a darker soft lines on our pumpkin. I created a new layer and set it to the multiply, also using a soft brush for it. And the color is from our color file. You can find there multiply layer colors, and feel free to just to pick them, and you will have similar color like we are doing here. And just going over all the pumpkin, making how many lines you want on your pumpkin. We're gonna hide this nail with the hide tool. Just double click on it and it's gone. Now we can normally paint over. And the last one. Now we're gonna do some polishing. I will adjust those lines to get the details I want. It's sometimes hard to paint like in one stroke everything correctly, so I often use the eraser tool to adjust everything for the forms I want. Already looks much better, but we're gonna go over all the pumpkin and adjust everything. And by the holding shift you can do these straight lines like in Photoshop. Sometimes it can be helpful. And I will erase a little bit on the upper and lower side so they will not go through all the pumpkin, so they will disappear a little bit. And decrease the opacity to like 65 or something, and adjust them a little bit more. So yeah, it's they should disappear a little bit on the upper part. It's not like a football ball. I also created another one, multiply layer, and I will go with another one soft brush, but with super small size to do these darker lines in the middle of our soft detail layer. This will give us a good depth and will look really cool. At least I like how it looks, so I will do this. And we're also gonna use the eraser tool here to there we go. Looks really cool. I also set the multiply opacity to 70%. And now it's time for darker linear details. So I picked the darker color and started adding this dot stylized details just randomly, painting them over all the pumpkin. Some kind skin structure of them, this vegetable, hard to say this, vegetable pumpkin, yeah, and some damaged detail on the upper part, some on the eye too, and these ones will be for the emission, like the smile goes on the side too, and there will be the emission that continue our smiley. Also using the eraser tool to adjust the forms. And I will erase a little bit the dots too, but I left some shadows on the upper part of these dots, so they will have some depth too, but almost like not seen. Don't want them to be super seen and take a lot of your attention. And here I wanted to add more interesting details, so I decided to paint something on the middle of this pumpkin. It's not the electricity sign, it's something like from the Harry Potter, you know. Harry Potter has similar lighting on his head. Yeah, not the electricity sign. And more darker stuff on the mouth. And here we need to adjust everything to the dark colors. We will paint emission later on here, so just clean it up, everything to the dark, all the mouth in inner part to the darker color. The process is pretty simple, so we're gonna skip it. Just make sure you have painted all the inner mouth with the darker color. Now we're gonna do the highlights. We created a new layer and choose the lighter color from our picture with the colors, and doing some highlights on the mouth. Just be sure you're not using like super straight forms or super small lines for this one. make more interesting shapes for the highlights, and they should not be like super shiny because it's a pumpkin material. It's not gonna be like metal. And painting over all the mouth. And same with the eyes. Also don't forget to add some darker colors around the eyes at the inner part. I will do this a little bit later on. I forgot to make it. And now I choose the razor tool and started cleaning the highlights, make more cool looking lines, more cleaner ones, and somewhere with the less opacity. And erasing a little bit, decreasing the opacity on the sides of mouth, decreasing these highlights. They should not be that seen good on the sides. A little bit highlights for our painted darker detail where we're gonna add emission later on, and a little bit for these dots details too, but just a little bit, almost not seen. And for electricity sign too, I mean the lighting sign. You actually can paint anything you want on the middle of the pumpkin. Highlights for our metal nails. While painting on the metal, I prefer to do some lighter dots on the parts where the highlights hits more, like here we see on the end edge. I just painted more like dot-like highlight, pushing my pen harder on this part, so it will be like shiny effect there. And the last one nail, we will do similar stuff here. And some softer ones for our cylindric form of nail. using this softer brush. Yeah. And also we'll add some detail on the side of our upper pumpkin detail, something stylized, like, I don't know, just something that gonna look cool. Similar like we are painting on the wood, you know. And I will add highlights here too. Yep, there we go. Raise it a little bit to decrease opacity on it, so it will not be seen that well. And now we're gonna add some painted ambient. So I created a new layer for our ambient. We'll do the soft brush and paint over. We are not using multiply layer here, just a color, standard one. Now I will take the eraser tool and adjust our ambient. And same for the lower side. I decided to add one more layer with the painted ambient, but with more greenish colors. So we paint ambient on the ambient, but this one will be a smaller one. So they'll have this gradient effect. And gonna do the same adjustment with the eraser tool, softer one. Now we have some cooking ambience. Now we're gonna add some darker ambient wannabe stuff around our emission in the mouth and add the eyes too. I use it super small soft brush for it. And just going over everything with the darker color. And on the eyes too, but we are not going to add this ambient over all the eye, only on the upper part. On the lower part we will have some glowing effect for the eye. I hide the pumpkin and gonna paint over all the mesh to be sure there will not be missed parts. Sometimes you can miss something, there will be just some lighter pixel. And now we are adding the lighter color on the middle of emission. So we have this glowing effect, and for the eye too. That's why we didn't add the ambience here. There will be a whiter part. And the emission or on our painted darker detail, like it's continue the mouth. A little bit of emission on our middle symbol. I decided to add a bit more colors on the metal, like some rust or something. I had a feeling that it missing some interesting colors, so I just adding this reddish. I actually picked it just from backside of pumpkin and mixing it on the nail with the bluish color to get more interesting look. And same for with the softer brush for our cylindric forms. I think it will look more cooler. I really like it. And now we're gonna do the emission inside the mouth. So what you need to do, just paint with the flat color on the surface of the mouth. Not all the mouth, but part by part. So we painted it all with same green color, and now I will get a razor tool and do some gradient inside. Now it looks really cool. And then I will create a new layer and paint on next surface inside the mouth. That way I will not touch the details on previous one and can do cool gradient looking on this one too. Like this, yeah. You see, I just have it on separated layer and can work with it normally. And you will need to do this for all the parts to make them look cool. I will paint a couple more and I will skip the wall process of all these surfaces, but it's the same process, so you know how to do it. And the inner part emission is done, and now we're gonna add some highlights to our emission. I will adjust them with the razor tool, as I often do. And paint it on the sides of the mouth. Adjusting them with the razor tool to get cooler forms and some opacity degrees. And we're gonna do this for all the mouth with the emissions. And make sure to paint all these emissions on separate layers so you can normally export them and use as emission texture. And some adjustments for these darker details. I will add there some emission color. I feel that this will look more cooler, like it hits a little bit more to the down, not like stops on the surface. And also gonna add some softer emission near the mouth around. So some kind like light reflections there, just a little bit. Now I will decrease the opacity of it with the razor tool. I don't want them to be so like super thin, but just a little bit greenish effect there. Something like this should work. And I also decreased the opacity on it. Now we're gonna add the gradient, just picking color from our file. Going to the gradient tool. We also use it for fill color. And just set up your gradient, put it on the overlay around 20-30%, and there we go, our pumpkin is done. Yay! And here is our finished pumpkin in Marmoset 4. I hope you have the similar cool results. Yay! Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and see you in the next videos. Bye bye!